Maine, known for its rugged coastline and hardworking communities, now faces an economic crisis. Let's explore the factors contributing to this decline and what can be done to reverse it. For decades, industries like paper manufacturing and shipbuilding fueled Maine's economy. Today, many of these businesses have shut down, leaving behind empty buildings and lost livelihoods. As industries vanish, unemployment rises. Many workers find themselves competing for a shrinking number of jobs or leaving the state in search of better opportunities. High poverty rates and an aging population further strain Maine's economy. This cycle of stagnation drives out young talent and limits economic growth. But there is hope. By supporting small businesses, reducing regulations, and investing in education, Maine can rebuild its economy from the ground up. Maine's challenges are significant, but with collective effort and innovation, a brighter future is within reach. Maine is facing a quiet but urgent crisis. With a shrinking workforce and the out-migration of young people, the state's economic and social fabric is unraveling. Businesses are struggling to find employees, forcing closures and stalling economic growth. Maine's workforce is dwindling, and opportunities are slipping away. Young people are leaving the state in record numbers, drawn to opportunities elsewhere. With limited job prospects and rising costs, Maine is no longer seen as a viable place to build a future. Over the past decade, Maine has seen a steady population decline, threatening the sustainability of communities and public services across the state. As Maine's population ages, the balance between care for seniors and investment in younger generations becomes harder to maintain. The result? A growing divide. From struggling small businesses to empty classrooms, Mainers are feeling the impact of population decline in every corner of the state. But there's hope. With strategic investment in jobs, education, and community support, Maine can reverse this trend and reclaim its future. Maine's challenges are real, but they are not insurmountable. Let's work together to attract and retain talent, build strong communities, and ensure a thriving future for all.
Maine's economic policies are failing its people. Small businesses are closing their doors, unable to navigate the state's restrictive regulations and high taxes. Instead of fostering economic opportunity, these policies have perpetuated poverty, leaving families with fewer options and a heavier reliance on government assistance. Today, Maine's largest employer isn't the private sector, but the government. This reliance discourages innovation and stifles private enterprise. Local entrepreneurs face insurmountable barriers, from high property taxes to complicated licensing processes. For many, it's easier to give up than fight the system. This economic mismanagement drives young talent out of the state while leaving vulnerable populations without the resources they need to thrive. But it doesn't have to be this way. By implementing pro-business policies, reducing bureaucracy, and investing in private sector growth, Maine can pave the way to a brighter future. It's time for change. Let's break free from policies that stifle growth and build a Maine where opportunity thrives for everyone. In many regions, the government has taken center stage as the largest employer. Let's explore how this dominance impacts private sector opportunities and economic growth. From education to healthcare to public services, government jobs have become the backbone of local economies. While essential, this creates challenges for private businesses to thrive. When the government absorbs the majority of the workforce, private businesses struggle to compete for talent and resources. This limits innovation, investment, and job creation. An economy dominated by government jobs can lead to imbalanced budgets and reduced incentives for entrepreneurial ventures, stifling long-term economic resilience. Small businesses, the backbone of the economy, face mounting challenges. High taxes and limited workforce availability force many to shut down or relocate. The solution lies in balance. By empowering private businesses through reduced taxes, deregulation, and workforce training, we can ensure both sectors thrive. When government and private businesses work together, communities flourish. It's time to rethink how we balance the scales of employment and opportunity. In a system designed to uphold justice, a hidden network operates in plain sight, one where connections matter more than fairness. Welcome to the Good Old Boys Club, an exclusive network of insiders who use their connections to benefit from the justice system, while others are left to fend for themselves. From backroom deals to preferential treatment, this club ensures its members always have the upper hand, regardless of the consequences for others. While the connected few escape accountability, the vulnerable face the full weight of the law, often exploited for fines, fees, and convictions. The Good Old Boys Club isn't just about connections. It's about maintaining a system of exploitation that perpetuates inequality and undermines public trust. But some are fighting back, exposing corruption, demanding transparency, and pushing for a justice system that serves everyone, not just the privileged. Justice isn't a privilege, it's a right. Together, we can dismantle the networks of favoritism and demand a system that works for everyone.
Law enforcement's mission is to protect and serve. But when unethical methods like entrapment are used, they betray the trust of the people they are sworn to protect. Entrapment tactics are designed to provoke illegal actions. Instead of preventing crime, they manufacture it, trapping people in situations they wouldn't have faced otherwise. These tactics disproportionately target the poor and vulnerable, exploiting desperation and trust to boost arrest statistics. Entrapment often aligns with profit-driven policing, creating a pipeline for fines and revenue rather than fostering public safety. For the people entrapped, the consequences are life-altering, legal fees, loss of freedom, and damaged reputations that are nearly impossible to rebuild. Communities are demanding accountability. From courtrooms to city halls, the call is growing louder to end unethical policing and rebuild trust. We need ethical policing, not strategies that prey on the vulnerable. In Maine, justice isn't always about fairness. It's about money. Our legal and prison systems are increasingly driven by profits rather than the pursuit of truth, safety, or rehabilitation. Private prisons and corporate-run jails are cashing in on incarceration. The more people they lock up, the more money they make, turning our justice system into a profit-generating business. Rather than focusing on rehabilitation, prisons are overcrowded, understaffed, and ill-equipped to help those incarcerated. It's a system designed to fail, all for the sake of corporate profits. And it's not just the prison system. The legal system often prioritizes plea deals and swift convictions, pushing the poor, vulnerable, and innocent into plea bargains just to keep the system moving and maximize revenue. Prosecutors and defense attorneys, more concerned with their bottom lines, rush cases, ignoring the real impact on individuals and families. The system's focus is no longer on justice, but on quick turnarounds that bring in money. Private prison contractors, often influencing lawmakers, continue to push for policies that prioritize incarceration rates and profits over the well-being of inmates or public safety. The consequences of this profit-driven system are dire. Instead of rehabilitation, we see an endless cycle of incarceration, leaving people lost, broken, and without the support they need to reintegrate into society. But change is possible. People across Maine are standing up, demanding that our justice system be centered on public safety, rehabilitation, and fairness, not corporate greed. We must reclaim our justice system. By focusing on rehabilitation, restorative justice, and genuine accountability, we can move towards a fairer, more effective system that serves the people, without putting profits first. Now is the time to demand real change. Together, we can create a justice system that prioritizes people over profits. The legal system is meant to ensure fairness and protect all citizens. But when corruption takes root, justice becomes a privilege, not a right. Prosecutorial misconduct and revenue-focused practices have turned parts of the legal system into profit machines. Vulnerable communities bear the heaviest burden. Those who are poor, disabled, or otherwise marginalized often lack the resources to defend themselves against excessive fines, unjust charges, and prosecutorial overreach. Courts increasingly rely on fines and fees to generate revenue. This creates perverse incentives, where justice takes a back seat to financial gain. For those who can't pay, the consequences are devastating: spiraling debt, loss of property, and even jail time for minor infractions. But there is hope. Communities are organizing, demanding transparency, and holding prosecutors accountable for misconduct and predatory practices. Ending legal system corruption starts with awareness and action. It's time to demand a justice system that works for everyone, not just the privileged few. Maine's justice system is in dire need of reform. Prosecutorial misconduct has led to wrongful convictions, ruining lives and eroding trust in the legal process. It's time to hold those in power accountable. Prosecutors, with their unchecked power, often focus more on winning cases than ensuring justice. This has led to practices that disproportionately affect the poor, disabled, and vulnerable. Another challenge facing Maine is overregulation. Bureaucratic red tape stifles innovation and burdens local businesses with excessive rules and fees. It's holding back economic growth and preventing entrepreneurs from thriving. Overregulation pushes businesses out of Maine or prevents new ones from starting. Without a streamlined regulatory system, companies struggle to survive, and job opportunities become even harder to come by. Equally concerning is the lack of workforce development. Maine's young population is leaving, and those who stay often lack the necessary skills for modern industries. Our workforce needs urgent investment in training and education. To secure a prosperous future, we must focus on workforce development. Providing affordable, accessible training and education is essential to ensure Mainers are prepared for the jobs of tomorrow. It's time for reform. By addressing prosecutorial misconduct, cutting through overregulation, and investing in workforce development, Maine can build a fairer, stronger, and more prosperous future for all. Together, we can create an environment where justice, opportunity, and economic growth thrive. We have the potential to turn these challenges into the foundation for Maine's recovery. Join the movement for change. Advocate for urgent reforms that will help Maine recover and build a better future for generations to come. Maine, like many other states, faces a significant demographic challenge, an aging population with fewer young people to support it. As more of our citizens retire, there aren't enough young workers to fill their shoes. At the same time, young people are leaving Maine in search of better opportunities. The lack of affordable housing, job prospects, and access to essential services forces our youth to move out of state, exacerbating the problem. With fewer young workers entering the workforce, industries like healthcare, education, and agriculture are struggling to find qualified employees, and the quality of essential services begins to suffer. The numbers tell the story. Maine's population is shrinking, and by 2030, 1 in 4 Mainers will be over the age of 65. As the workforce shrinks, Maine's economy is left with fewer people to generate growth or sustain its vital services. Those who remain in the workforce are often older workers, many of whom are struggling with the physical toll of work or lack the necessary skills to adapt to modern, tech-driven industries. Local businesses are unable to find workers to fill essential roles, and the gap is only growing wider. This shortage affects everyone, from restaurants to factories, creating a ripple effect throughout Maine's economy. Families are feeling the strain, too. The loss of younger generations means fewer people to care for aging parents, support local economies, and build strong communities. To address these challenges, Maine must find ways to attract young people back and retain the ones we have. This requires creating jobs, investing in education and healthcare, and building a future that offers opportunities to all. By fostering a strong, diverse workforce and ensuring that all Mainers have access to opportunity, we can reverse the trend of population decline and build a more sustainable, thriving state. It's time to invest in Maine's future. Together, we can tackle these demographic challenges and ensure that Maine remains a place for families, businesses, and communities to flourish. Maine's healthcare system is at a breaking point. A severe nursing shortage is straining care for the state's aging population, one of the oldest in the nation. With fewer nurses available, patients face longer wait times, reduced care quality, and a growing sense of uncertainty about their health and futures. While the need for care increases, Maine's healthcare workforce is shrinking, leaving hospitals and nursing homes scrambling to meet even basic needs. Meanwhile, state officials are prioritizing profits, investing in healthcare as a revenue stream rather than a service to protect Maine's most vulnerable. Amid this crisis, the state is pouring resources into making Maine a transgender safe haven. While inclusivity is important, this shift diverts attention and funding from solving the critical issues plaguing the broader healthcare system. Seniors and healthcare workers are speaking out, asking why their needs are being ignored in favor of political agendas and profit-driven strategies. It's time to demand action. Maine's leaders must address the nursing shortage and put patients over profits before more lives are put at risk. Maine deserves a healthcare system that works for everyone. Join the call for accountability and fairness in healthcare. Across Maine, a culture of systemic corruption has taken root. Favoritism, backroom deals, and a complete lack of accountability are undermining trust in our legal institutions. When law enforcement and the judiciary become entangled in political alliances and personal interests, justice takes a backseat. The very system meant to protect us is compromised. People across Maine are feeling the effects. Innocent individuals face wrongful convictions, while the guilty go unpunished, all because the system is rigged in favor of the powerful. Police officers and officials escape responsibility for their actions, protected by the very system that should be holding them accountable. Judges, tasked with ensuring fairness, are often too involved in the networks of power to administer justice impartially, leaving the public feeling helpless and unheard. People are losing faith in the justice system. When you see the same names, the same faces, and the same favoritism over and over again, you begin to wonder if true justice even exists. But it's not too late. We can demand change. We can hold officials accountable and create a system where justice is truly blind and all citizens are treated equally. Through collective action, transparency, and unwavering commitment to fairness, we can dismantle the culture of corruption and rebuild a system that works for everyone. The time for change is now. Together, we can restore trust in our law enforcement and judicial systems, ensuring they serve the people, not the powerful.